Good morning, everyone. We're going to give everyone a minute to log on. We've got quite a few people that have signed up for this. It's a very important webinar that's covering a lot of critical issues for the industry right now. And just give us one more minute, we'll get started. Okay, it looks like we've hit our peak. Other people may be joining us. So welcome to our webinar today on Grocery to Go. And before we get started into the actual webinar, Carol Dover has agreed to say a few words to the members that are listening in. So Carol, take it away.
Thank you, Fred. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I want to first thank all of you for taking time out to come listen to this very important webinar. And I also want to thank our panelists for agreeing. You know, if somebody had told me a month ago that we would be having a webinar today to talk about grocerants and restaurants and groceries to go, I would have never believed it. I mean, this is obviously we're in a very challenging and strange time in life. But I first want to also commend our governor in Florida and the leadership that he has given to our industry. And most of you probably know by now the Senate last night did sign and or pass unanimously the phase 3 of the stimulus package that will greatly help the restaurant industry and the hotel industry. It still has to go to the House. Hopefully it's going to get passed over in the House and the president will be able to sign it this weekend. So stay tuned, because I'm sure we'll be having a webinar very soon to go through the logistics of that piece of legislation. Lastly, I just want to say also this morning, for those of you who are Florida-based on the call, I've been on the phone with the head of the Department of Revenue, Jim Zengali, and there is an announcement today regarding delaying sales tax. So keep an eye out for that. It's unfortunately, it's only a 10-day delay. It's not as far out as I had hoped and we had hoped, but it's possible that that can change in the future. But do keep an eye open for that. With that said, I want to turn it over to. I'm assuming I'm flipping it back to you, Fred. And yeah, thank you all again.
No, we're going to let Dan say a few words here to explain a little bit about what the FRL is providing as resources for its members. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, and I'm going to be very quick because we want to get on to the presentation. But I strongly recommend you going to our website, and it's on the right there, and download that. There's some great information on that page. One of the things we've started is an employee portal. If you have employees that are looking for work, they can go to that employee portal. We have Walmart, Publix, other companies that are looking for employees right now. So just one thing. Also, we're partnering. I can't say enough about Fred LaFranc. Also, all his webinars are up there. We've recorded his webinars. You can go to Fred's website. There's an excellent one on leasing, how to talk to your landlords about leasing, whether you're temporarily closed or closed permanently. Strongly encourage you to go there and look at some of those. The Florida Small Business Bridge Loan Program webinar is great, and there's some resources there as well that you can download. Also, we did a labor law webinar with Kevin Johnson yesterday. Johnson Jackson, phenomenal. Talked about furloughs and layoffs and those type of things. Very, very strong. So, and last but not least, there's also some additional resources out there with our partners, American Hotel and Lodging Association, the National Restaurant Association, even the Texas Restaurant Association has a phenomenal website. Doing a great job. We've actually partnered with them on some webinars. So with that, Fred, and the only other thing I'd like to say is that we have a gentleman named Jeff Lukeman that's on our staff that's at the State Emergency Office, or excuse me, the Emergency Operations Center in Florida. He's got as Carol, he's got the pulse of what's going on out there. Feel free to call any of us or our regional directors out in the field. With that, Fred, I'm going to put you in the driver's seat. Thank you.
Dan, thank you so much. And so let's get started on very critical topics here. So I'm going to go and let everyone introduce themselves, say a little bit about who they are, and then we'll get started from there. So Danielle, go ahead. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Fred. Danielle Rossi. I own a restaurant in Deerfield Beach, Florida called Oceans 234. I've been here for 20 years. I've had 3 or 4 restaurants in that time frame, but Oceans is my primary restaurant now.
Thank you. Jim?
Hey, Chef Jim Shirley. I'm up in the Panhandle in South Walton, Florida. I've been a chef and restaurateur for 25 years here. I've had restaurants in Pensacola and in South Walton, and longtime member of the FRLA.
Good, thank you. John Reisigal?
Hi, John Reisigal. I'm with Cheney Brothers in Riviera Beach, Florida. We're a food distributor in the Southeast United States, covering restaurants, hotels, country clubs, and we're celebrating our 95th year in business and now starting off our most challenging year in business. So happy to be on the call and happy to give whatever support we can to the restaurants in the state of Florida.
That's great. We appreciate you being here. John Davey?
Hi, everybody. John Davey. I'm the founder and CEO of Dining Alliance and the Buyer's Edge platform. I started Dining Alliance about 23 years ago in upstate New York, trying to help small mom and pop independent restaurants get some of the same kind of pricing and savings that the large mega chains have. So we've been trying to be an advocate for the small restaurants for all this time, and we've been through a number of recessions and been able to help a lot of operators during this time. But this is just incredible what we're seeing, and we're trying to come up with every idea possible to get people moving product. And I'm excited about this topic because everybody has inventory, and if we can help them move it in creative ways and cash flow products that they already have on hand, it could really make a big difference for these operators. So excited to share anything we have with you guys.
Good, and thank you for being here as well. So as you can see, we're balanced out with operators as well as some providers, which is fantastic. And as Dan mentioned at the top of the webinar, at Results Through Strategy, we have our blog where we've been posting a video series on surviving the pandemic. We're updated it constantly. We actually recorded one yesterday on how to become a grocerant, and we have a checklist of potential items that you can carry, which will be supplemented by what you're going to hear about today. So let's get started a little bit in terms of why we're here. So the idea, and I know that John Davey was a big proponent behind this, is to provide service ideas to communities and afford restaurateurs alternative financial and employment viability during this public health crisis. It's bad. And so this is where I just want to explain what a grocerant is. This is a term that's going to become very, very popular. This has been discussed in the past before. On the other side, it was grocery stores becoming restaurants. Now we're talking about restaurants becoming grocery stores. Whole Foods, Wegmans for years has been doing great prepared foods where people come in and get meals to go or sit down in a cafe style environment. And we want to now talk about what restaurants can do. And the reason is that as the delivery takeout model evolves, restaurants need to find a way to increase frequency and check average. Many restaurants had no choice but to immediately pivot to delivery and takeout models. Some had never done it before, others had done it before. And some people are finding it a little bit difficult and challenging. What you can see here is what Danielle's done is she created her own responsive website, and this is what it looks like on her phone in terms of the products that she's carrying. Many grocery stores are backlogged with delivery and takeout orders. So, for example, my in-laws live in Indian Wells, California. It's 2 weeks out for pickup, much less takeout, delivery in grocery stores. And that's a big issue, especially in areas of the country where there's a lot of senior citizens. They really are cautioning them not to go out. And Florida has a lot of retirees, so this is a big opportunity for you to service that community. Many governments are mandating stay-at-home orders. I live in Charlotte, California. Today was the first day that we're not allowed to go out on the streets without going to a store or a doctor, things like that. That has not yet happened in Florida, to my understanding, but that may happen as this disease spreads. And of course, large parts of the population are afraid to go out, especially in those hot spots. Now, this might be hitting more of the bigger urban centers in Florida like Miami, but it's something we need to be mindful for. Ideally, what this allows you to do is to have not just carry staple items, things you typically don't carry, that can build transaction sizes, frequencies I mentioned. So Danielle, let me start off with you. You've done a great job pivoting. You never had delivery and takeout in this manner before, is that correct?
We never excelled in that space. We have a high check average and our food doesn't carry that way. So we knew it wouldn't be something that worked for us.
So you're one of those restaurateurs that had to pivot quickly. And tell us a little bit about what you've done, especially with some of these items that you're carrying that really aren't your own.
Right. So it really was a collaboration to start with Cheney Brothers. They had worked with me in finding items that we could pack and resell then to the customer. And then additionally, we found other community partners like you see on the screen, whether it be our local brewer that we are selling their crowlers, We found a local fitness company that sells protein bars, and then we had a cleaning company that we were able to source, sanitizer and toilet paper right away. And Cheney Brothers has those items as well, but we're trying to involve some of the community partners that we have locally.
Jim, let me ask you, how did you pivot to delivery takeout in your operations? You have a lot of different concepts.
Right, most of them in season we don't do any takeout at all. Their kitchens are maxed out, but now it's all to go clearly. And the addition of the groceries is really boosted the sales a lot, especially but everything is completely touchless. It's all order online, and when you pull up, we'll put it in your car. We're working on the delivery part.
That's great. So, John, over at Cheney Brothers, can you just give the people who are watching this an idea of what they need to do to access these products? Is it available for them immediately? Is there a special place you need to go to? How do they pivot to this model?
We've got almost $100 million of inventory in the state of Florida, so we have plenty of inventory, something that a lot of the retail supply chain doesn't have right now. So we have available inventory, and we just need to find it to get it to the restaurants that need it. And someone like Danielle at Oceans 234 has done a phenomenal job of pivoting really quickly, developing a really slick website to make it easy for customers to place those orders. They don't have to wait in line at a crowded grocery store, and that's a concern right now with how crowded.
It's on the screen.
Good. So, John Davey, so tell us a little bit about what Dining Alliance is doing to help the members here through these difficult times.
Yeah, I mean, like the goal of my company is always to help operators save money on the supplies they're buying. Now, unfortunately, a lot of operators are not buying a lot of supplies right now. So we've really spent the last week and a half just focusing on creative ways to help them sell more food to new customers or existing customers in these unique models. So we're mainly just sharing every idea that we get. We interact with about 70,000 restaurant and food service locations, everything from large chains, but mostly smaller mom and pop local restaurants. So we're in a unique intersection to get a lot of information in from the manufacturer community, distributor community, and small restaurants all across the country. And we're trying to bundle those up and share them on our social media through email blasts. And this is our first web series that we've done. So it's really just sharing ideas of ways for restaurants to get some liquidity and some cash on the existing inventory they have. The thing that I've been the most concerned about is all the perishable inventory that restaurants and food suppliers have on hand, and how tragic it would be if all that or a lot of that product ends up in the dumpster. So moving quickly to try to get people ideas that they can get some cash on hand for the products that they already had. And that's where this grocery restaurant we've kind of been pushing since last Tuesday. And it's amazing to see so many operators come online and offer something. In addition to the grocery, delivery, we're talking about
I got it.
Pop-up drive-through concepts where restaurants that have a good parking lot can rent a tent and have an easy touchless drive-through concept. We have a couple of examples we've seen around the country off of that concept. We're trying to offer drink specials and other ideas like that. So,
I just want to chime on John's point about using existing inventory. The home consumer, they wouldn't know what to do with a 15-pound strip loin, but restaurants like Danielle, they can portion that strip loin into 4 steak packages and sell the consumer 4 steaks at a time and utilize their inventory that way. Same thing with a 40-pound case of random chicken breast. What is a home consumer going to do with that? Nothing.
What it is, 951 384.
They're very convenient for home use.
What? 341. I don't see that. It's right here. Access code.
Dan, I think we can hear you. And that might be you or somebody else should mute their phone.
Yeah, I know who that is. Someone's talking. Sorry about that, John. So, Firebirds is doing things where you can pick up pre-cut steaks that go home and barbecue that are not cooked, right? So there's a lot of ideas along those lines. And I know that California restaurants have pivoted to this as well. But let's move on a little bit and see some of the other things that Danielle's done. Danielle, why don't you go ahead and talk about this a little bit? I think this is important for some of the members to understand.
Right. So we're using our delivery fee and also the tips that we're collecting. My managers right now are working with me in doing all the logistics from this. So they're actually being the delivery drivers. So we decided early on that all of the delivery fees and all of the tips that we collected, that we would put that together for our non-working team members. And to date, we've have over $3,000 so far, and we're just getting started. So that's been a great resource to provide value to our community, but also raise some funds internally for our non-working team members.
Yeah, on a large scale company like Darden, who has resisted using third-party deliveries, all of a sudden had to pivot to the delivery takeout model. They've made their servers their drivers. And for those of you who don't know that, you can get insurance for those people who are drivers now because there's a liability issue. Everything's moving very quickly. So talk to your local insurance provider about getting insurance for those drivers in case, God forbid, they get into a car accident of any sort as it goes on. But we definitely want to take care of these frontline employees. They're estimating maybe 30 to 40% of the employees have been laid off already, if not more, and may never come back. So that's one of the issues we're trying to deal with. We're talking about promotion as well. So I'm going to start off with you, Jim. Are you doing any kind of promoting and marketing of this new delivery vehicle?
Yes, we've been using social media. The local papers picked it up, but mainly it's social media has been driving the boat. But it drives the boat in my area. That's the only boat out there.
Right. And did you participate in the Great American Takeout promotion that did this past Tuesday? Did your restaurants benefit from that?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Danielle? Did yours benefit?
Yes, it was a great day.
Good. I mean, our goal here is that every day's got to be a great day, right? And so, the NRA did a takeout Wednesday, and that's great, but we're operating 7 days a week. We need the business. And when a restaurant's gone from maybe no sales in delivery and takeout or 10 to 15%, and now 100% of your sales delivery and takeout, and yet you got to pay rent, and the whole thing is different. And we did post a video, Dan talked about it, on what to do with your landlords in terms of trying to deal with them, negotiate with them in terms of rent. But social media seems to be the way to go. Here's the challenge you have to keep in mind. There's a lot of noise out there right now. People are more on social media than ever before, but everyone's reading about COVID-19. So to break through, don't be afraid to repeat your message over and over and over again. If you have a mailing list of customers, use that and ask them to spread the word about what you're offering the community, because now's the time to really get involved with your community. That's the most important thing. Danielle, talk a little bit about what you're doing here. I know this is a process, a new one for you. So share this as an idea with people.
Right. So the ads that you showed before were our initial ads. And I knew that while I have a good database and I have a great customer base, that I'm starting a brand new business. And I've got to be relevant to my customers every single day. So last week was great. They know we're doing grocery. A lot of them, my initial low-hanging fruit customer all ordered it, the ones that want to support me. But now I've got to stay relevant and bring them value. So last night I launched Kitchens in Quarantine, and it's all a series of recipes with the products that I'm providing that people, recipe ideas. I'm hearing from people, I'm home all day, I got to cook 3 times a day, I'm running out of ideas, and now I'm going to give it to them. So if you go to my website, we have our 8 new recipes are up there for today.
With your permission, can everyone steal that idea and use it?
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Jim, how does that sound to you?
That's a great idea. I love it.
All right, so some recipes we can do there. And of course, John Davey, you've got 70,000 restaurants, and I'll talk to you later on separately about what we can do to support you with all your customers in getting these ideas. Everything's going fast and furious here. Everyone's pivoting on the fly. So and the great thing is everyone's really pitching in and working together. All right, so Danielle, ever optimistic, you're going to be open again. People are going to come back in and enjoy your beautiful restaurant. What is this all about?
Yeah, so I have a captive audience with everybody that I'm delivering to. I've already delivered to 250 households. So I want to be top of mind when we reopen, and I'm already preparing to, it's going to be a crowded market space. Who knows what's going to happen then? So I'm giving $20 gift cards to everyone who orders in hopes that in that first 90 days I can be relevant and be the first place that they come back to.
Good. That's another great. Jim, are you doing anything in anticipation of reopening?
Well, not yet. We've we're covering our bases right now. We're building out this whole concept. So all these things are great. We're adding more pieces to it every day. But the main thing is trying to keep our team together and keep in touch with them and help them continue with their life.
Well, I'll share with you too, for some of the operators who are listening, previous sponsors and participants at the Florida Restaurant Lodging Association's Marketing and Operations Summit, Shift One, is offering for free the use of their platform that allows you to stay in touch with all your employees. It's difficult to everyone's email addresses and cell phone numbers, so that's shift1.com, ONE.com, and they will offer it for free. Ashish is the CEO co-founder there, and they've been great to partner with to get this information out to people. Also, there are companies, and I don't know specifically what everyone uses, many of your POS companies are available to help you program your registers with these new items if you are incapable of doing it yourselves. Some are offering handhelds to meet people in parking lots if that's what we want to try and do. And of course, I saw a posting of a restaurant today that if people walk into the restaurant, they put chairs at 6 feet distance to know where to stand in the queue, so that they don't, say that so safe 6 movement. And also in the parking lots, chalk marks, what 6 feet look like, so that people don't get bunched up. There's a lot of ideas that are coming online about this as well. John Davey, let's talk a little bit about what you're looking at here, some of the value you've added in terms of helping people with this concept.
Yeah, so I think operators should try to find as many outlets as possible for delivery, takeout, and this grocery grocerant concept. Starting with their own websites, obviously. But we accelerated a partnership with DoorDash, which is one of the largest delivery companies, and they are waiving their setup fee. They are waiving any commissions for the next 30 days. They're not doing any commissions on pickup business. And if you're an existing DoorDash customer, they are willing to talk and see if you're eligible to lower your commissions. So we've been trying to push this promotion out because a lot of people are not on DoorDash. A lot of restaurants, maybe like Danielle's, have never really had to use a Grubhub or DoorDash or Uber Eats. And maybe it just wasn't necessary, or didn't want to pay the commissions to those companies. The good news is now there's opportunities to get set up in these third-party delivery apps that you won't pay a commission for at least some period of time. So if you have 30 days of paying no commission on DoorDash, then why not put up a gallon of milk or orange juice or eggs or bread or buns or Danielle sent me a great shrink wrapped fillets and everything that were obviously uncooked, so which is great. So don't just think prepared foods, think anything that you have in the restaurant to sell. Liquidate all of your inventory, or as much of your inventory as fast as possible. And I think a great way to do it is there is a massive customer base on apps like DoorDash and Grubhub that you should put a new menu on your, you can set up your menus on these digital apps like your sides menu and your appetizers, entrees, but it's very easy to create a grocery category. So you can add a category on your digital menu like save a trip to the grocery store or grocery essentials, and list those items. I haven't seen enough examples of operators putting these items on the third-party apps. Millennials and everybody are using those apps like crazy, so get everything up on those. I would slim down your prepared menus and keep your labors down and focus on items that you're really, really good at, like your signature dishes, and slim your menu down, but get the grocery type items up on these third-party delivery apps. And DoorDash we can offer through Dining Alliance at no setup fee and no commission for 30 days.
No, that's great. So when we did our video webinar yesterday at Results Through Strategy on Grocerant, one of the things that our chef talked about is really scaling down your menu to the items that really sell well, easy to prepare, cost effective. The other thing that restaurants are beginning to do, especially these third-party aggregator websites, is they're creating virtual restaurant concepts. So let's take Danielle as an example and Jen. They've got these multiple concepts. They may be high check average, but not everyone can afford those. You can create a virtual restaurant. It could be a pizza concept, a burrito concept. It could be a hamburger concept, food that travels well, and people don't know. They don't care as long as the food's delicious and then come out of your kitchen. So there's one restaurant I read about that has 6 concepts now coming out of one kitchen because they recognize they're appealing to different price points and stuff like that, because we're here to survive and thrive. and that's one of the things to do. So yes, have your brand, have your concept, be proud of it, and sell that for the people who are loyal to you. But at the same time, if you got product that's sitting on the shelves or in the coolers, you need to push. Create a virtual concept. Nothing stops you from doing that. And I think John at Cheney Brothers will sell you whatever you want. So his whole inventory is available. And of course, the alcohol to go, you know where to get the booze from. I believe it has to be a sealed container. But this is Florida and all the nightclubs has always been famous for bottle service. This takes bottle service to a whole new level, right? You're allowing people to do that as it goes along. Here's an example of Village Tavern where they're doing a quarantine kit, right? Similar to what Danielle talked about, where you can sell food to prepare at home and make it available. I will say to you that if you're going to use photography, take the time to take good pictures. People still eat with their eyes. You can buy these great little things online to help light up your phone if you're going to use it. These phones take great pictures, but be mindful of how things look so that it's an attractive setting for people as they go through that. These meal kits is really important. So the idea is not just, and you can put this in your website, and Danielle showed you that, and she did that on her own, you can get it taken care of. Don't just have people buy dinner for tonight, have people buy meals for the whole week, or several meals so they can package it up and things like that. And John at Cheney Brothers, can you tell us briefly what kind of packaging do people have available through you that they could take advantage of they've never considered using before?
Well, of course, we have all the standard to-go packaging for individual meals, whether it's, the various size takeout trays and that. As far as packaging like this, what a lot of the restaurants are doing are using boxes from their inventory when they're emptying out a case of product, 1 gallons of mayonnaise, they're using that mayonnaise box to deliver to the home. So the restaurants have that ready available packaging that normally just gets broken down and put in the dumpsters, but they're repurposing it for the home delivery use. As far as the portion bags and everything to portion the steaks and the shrink wrap and the aluminum foil, we've got ample supply of all those items at Cheney Brothers.
Do you carry any kind of space, the food saver machines that people can seal up food to go, or no? You do carry that. That's fantastic. So that'd be really good to sort of do that and square it away. The other thing to keep in mind, this is a stock image that was used in the photography. Make sure that anytime your employees are out there dealing with guests, they have gloves on. That's really, really important. John, do you still have any Purell sanitizer stands available, or are they out?
Those are hard to come by. Those got wiped out about a week ago, and everything's on allocation. So we are getting dribs and drabs in. We do have a waiting list of customers that need that. So as soon as we can procure it and get in our building, it's literally all going out next day. But we are using every resource we can to get as much product as we can.
That's great. And you'll let people know when it's available, I assume.
Absolutely.
All right. So here's an example of a drive-through. Because if you don't have a takeout window or a drive-through, this is sort of a casual dining version of a drive-through. Someone rented a tent, and you're able to come in and out and get the orders, and people can stay in their car. I think, Jim, you were saying this, right? Is this sort of what you're doing? People stay in their car, and you go out and greet them?
That's it, exactly. When you pull up, call out your name, and we bring everything out to you. Everything's already paid for, and we're just going to put it in your trunk or in your car. And completely... Yeah, we're completely sanitized and gloved, so all the safety features for us and our guests.
Fantastic. That's great. That's great news. This is a beautiful picture. This, I believe, is Maple Street Biscuit Company, and this is an example of how you can use your existing furniture in a unique way. Obviously, all the chairs get pushed aside. Your tables become your counters, and of course, these are products that don't have to be refrigerated for long, so that helps you a lot. Things like, meat and chicken and fish is a different story, but you can do that. And don't be afraid right now in these crazy times. If people are going to come into your restaurant, create your own menu boards if you have to. It does not have to be fancy. We're going to win ugly here initially until such times that we can catch up with the things that really work. And feel free to experiment to see what people want. A lot of the restaurants are asking their guests, what would you like us to carry? And you can ask those questions on social media, and they'll respond to you. Then you go out there and get them from people at the Cheney Brothers. So the thing we're looking at, we've already talked about it, is John Davey mentioned, is you're trying to reduce your inventory, get it down to the products that really have high velocity, keep it fresh and moving over, generate revenue. We've given you a lot of ideas on how you might be able to generate revenues through larger check averages, meal kits, things like that, alcohol sales. Use your staff. I mean, our employees are our most important asset, and that's really critical. And as it mentions here, this is about community. This is when community gets together and really begins to support each other. And to make sure that while we're socially distant, we're still emotionally connected. One of the reasons we're doing video on this webinar is so you can see our faces instead of a disembodied voice. I've used more video calls in this past 2 weeks than I've used in the last 5 years, because it's so important to see someone else and just recognize that they're there. In fact, a close friend of ours had a birthday today. We did a video recording wishing her happy birthday and sent it off to her. And those are the kind of things that we can do to stay connected. The other idea to do, if you have a Zoom account, is you can do up to 100 people on a call at one time. And restaurants are beginning to do happy hours that way. So that's something you can do for your restaurant, your customers. Sponsor a happy hour. Let them get on there with you. You get on there, have a glass of wine, toast them while they're on there, have a conversation. Just keep that sense of community alive. Use modern tools to get us through this pandemic. That's the thing I would recommend that you consider doing as much as possible. Okay, so John Davey, let me have you sort of explain a little bit about what you're trying to do in terms of bringing your members value.
Yeah, so we've always had this program, but we're getting a lot of major food manufacturers step up in a big way. I was frankly a little worried that food manufacturers might take a step back because of the drop in sales, but most of the food manufacturers are benefiting from the retail side. So think companies like Tyson, Unilever, Georgia Pacific, et cetera, have always supported us, but they're even stepping up with lower pricing, deeper rebates. They're offering extra 90-day promotions to try to get their food service restaurant customers some savings in their hands. So my company aggregates about $10 billion in food service spend, and we negotiate contracts with major food manufacturers like Tyson, Unilever, Pactiv, Solo Cup, Dart, et cetera. That covers about 165,000 items that have a rebate or a deviated price or both. And there's no cost to membership. So we do not need a credit card from a restaurant operator. We never send an invoice to a restaurant operator. We actually send rebate checks every quarter to our restaurant operators. So we're a revenue generator or a positive impact to the P&L statement of any restaurant. And we're excited that we're even looking like it's going to be even more savings because the manufacturer community is stepping up in a big way to even do more. More manufacturers that we weren't working with have recently come forward and offered a program for our mom and pop and local independent restaurants. So that's our kind of core program that's very easy for people to get set up at no cost. These are some programs that we push forward very quickly for additional savings. Like I mentioned, the DoorDash is no commissions for 30 days. That's a really big deal. A lot of these sites were charging 25, 30, I've heard as high as 33% commissions for some of these third-party delivery sites. So to get no fee, no commission paid to these third parties, or in this case, DoorDash, for 30 days is a big deal. And we're excited about that. Checkmate is a third-party software that brings together multiple third-party delivery apps inside of one tablet. So a lot of takeout restaurants, they might have 4 different delivery services with 4 different tablets sitting on a counter, and they're kind of trying to manually enter all that information in their point of sale, their Micros Aloha. Checkmate integrates with all the major point of sale machines, brings in multiple third-party apps all into one site. There is a cost, but they're offering a discount, and I think there'll be some negotiating ability for operators with this site for deferment. But if you're serious about takeout and delivery, you know, having 2 or 3 or 4 delivery sites will drive more business. Just got to be cognizant of the commissions you're paying to those sites. Discounts on Sprint and DirecTV, you know, as well. So we have a whole bunch of different discounts, but those are some of the core things we're really pushing hard because they can be immediate benefit to the operator. Really no out-of-pocket, you know, cost is what we're focusing on, because nobody wants to add an expense line item to their P&L today.
That's for sure. And we did a video a couple of days ago updating people on the various third-party aggregators, what kind of deals there are nationwide. A lot of flexibility. Not everyone's playing ball as well as DoorDash has done, but it's something you need to be aware of. And concepts like it's a Checkmate do aggregate all those tablets. You don't go through tablet hell, because if you're not used to delivery, all of a sudden you got 4 or 5 tablets all over the place. It's crazy. And the probability of error going from the tablet to punching it into your POS system increases exponentially. So it's a very, very helpful use. For the small business operators out there, companies like Olo will not work with you because they want big enterprise companies. Companies like GoParrot will work with you to create an online ordering service for you if you don't have one already on your own. So we do want to see if there's any questions. There's a chat feature on the right-hand side and questions available to you. We'll give you a couple of minutes if anyone has specific questions of anyone that's on this webinar. If you see again to the right-hand side of your screen, there's a little floating box there that says questions, and we will see if there's any questions there while you're doing it. So what I'd like to do while we're waiting for those questions to pop up, Danielle, let me go back to you because you really seem to have jumped on this bandwagon very, very quickly. What have you learned through this whole experience?
Honestly, it's moved so quickly since last Thursday. And I'd say to anybody who's starting to do this, you've got to be 100% all in. And you've got to be in control 100% of the time, because it's like starting a brand new business. And it's not just like, if you build it, they will come. You've got to do extensive marketing. You've got to get out to the community and let them know what you're doing, and continually be adding new items, getting feedback from your customers. I did a survey on Sunday to the first, I think, 120 people that I did my deliveries to kind of get feedback on what they liked, what they didn't, and where we were providing value for them. And one of the number one things I heard was people do not want to leave their houses. So we were able to provide this service to, high risk individuals, and they were so grateful for it.
Great, good words of advice. Jim, how about you?
Yeah, we've got an incredible feedback from all of this. The biggest thing is, of course, the safety of it, and as we're moving into the delivery mode, it would be a touchless system is really a great way, because no one wants to be in line at the grocery store.
All right. So John at Cheney Brothers, any final parting words for the audience?
No, I think Danielle really laid it out great that, it's not easy. It's a challenge. It's starting a new business, but it can provide a great cash flow for restaurants. It can help them utilize existing inventory they already have in their restaurants. It can help keep people employed, which we didn't touch on a lot, and that's really, really important right now. Keep people going and keep people employed. And hats off to you, Danielle, for sharing those tips with people that are out of work right now. The bartenders and the server staffs are really hurting it right now. So, the retail supply chain has all they can handle right now, and anything we can do from the restaurant industry to help take some strain off that retail supply chain, I think is really, really important. And again, it can keep some of these really important restaurant businesses afloat during this difficult time.
And John, Davey, I want to thank you for all the information you already shared with us regarding the benefits that your members can definitely take advantage of. I do want to remind you, the only question we had is, will this webinar be available online? If you look down here at the very bottom of the screen, the answer is yes. If you go to frla.org/webinars, it'll be available to you. A reminder, there'll be a link there on the resource page to the video series that we're doing, a results through strategy, which we're trying to do new ones every single day based on the requests that you have. Keep in mind, remember, you are important to the communities. You are important to all your guests, all your customers, all the people that live around you. These are scary times. It's okay to be afraid, but never, never, ever underestimate how powerful we really are. I think we've gotten some great examples on this webinar today. I want to thank everyone for participating. Thank you so much for watching us today. God bless you and stay safe. Take care.